I'm Safira. I'm from Jakarta, Indonesia. So I moved here to Singapore around 3 years ago. Prior to my MBA, I worked in a private equity sector in a Jakarta-based private equity firm, which is actually a subsidiary of state-owned enterprise asset management company. And so I moved here to Singapore 3 years ago with my husband and my little son. Now he's 5 years old, but when we moved here, he was just turning 3 years old. So at the time, I was thinking that I want to do more, and I really want to explore, job opportunities in Singapore. And I know that private equity sector is a very closed industry. So usually people will hire, new employees based on referrals or other connections. So I know that at the time I didn't have any connection here in Singapore. That's why I decided to go for an MBA program, and I chose NUS MBA because I want to enter the PE sector here, specifically in Singapore. Based on the reputation, the rankings, and I also try to take a look at the curriculum, some module syllabi, and I also try to take a look at the profiles of the professors as well. And then I decided to, take my MBA journey in NUS. I know that NUS MBA emphasizes the importance of experiential learning, of course. But before jumping into the experiential part, I try to take a look at the academic curriculum before. And they have around, from what I remember, 6 specializations. And because I want to, explore PE company or PE sector or similar to that VC sector, I try to take a look at the finance specialization and strategy. And under that finance specialization, they have several modules, which include private equity, venture capital, entrepreneurial management, entrepreneurial finance, business valuation. So I try to sharpen my skills more. I know that I already have, the experience in private equity before for around 5 years, but I know that the circumstances, the conditions in these sectors in different countries will be very, different from each other. So probably, if in Indonesia, they will more focus on certain sectors. In Singapore, the PE firm will definitely focus more on other kind of sectors. So I would like to explore those details in the classes. And that's why I try to take a look at the curriculum. I try to take a look at the profile of the professor as well. And I took the module in my first semester. I took a private equity module with Prof. Dorisia, and she's actually amazing. She has extensive experience in private equity and venture capital firms. And so it has been a very great experience for me. And aside of that, of course, we have that experiential learning. I also try to take a look at it. And, I live in Jakarta most of the time. I rarely speak in English in the workplace because, of course, in Indonesia, it's uncommon to speak in English for, some companies. And my PE firm was actually a subsidiary of a state-owned enterprise. So we need to speak in Bahasa Indonesia, of course. And so I try to sharpen my, public speaking skills in English, business conversations in English. So the experiential learning modules has, helped me a lot in trying to, hone my interpersonal skills, I guess. Yeah. Of course, the quality of the faculty members in NUS is very great. Each professor has his or her own experience, and some would, of course, focus more on the theoretical part of the module, and it also actually depends on the type of the module that the students will take, right? For the PE for the PE module, the prof has extensive experience in PE sector, so it was very relevant, for us who would like to learn about the real cases, real deals that we might face in the PE sector, investment instruments, how to actually create financial modeling that will be best to value a company from the expert, right? And for other modules, I also took applied portfolio management. So the name of the professor is Prof. Joseph Cherian. He's also a practitioner, a business practitioner. He has extensive experience, but the way he teaches the classes is actually different from Prof. Doris. And it's not a bad difference. It's actually a very good difference. So each professor knows how to teach the class, and they usually will include their real experience into the class discussions, when we crack the cases, and even when the prof tried to challenge the students' opinions in the classroom. So the quality so far has been very great for me. Yeah, so it will be different to each module. So several modules will count participation for around 10%. So more of it will be group projects, individual projects, and exams. But usually the group projects will, account more. And for other modules, for example, VC, entrepreneurial management, the prof actually try to push students to speak up more. So they increase the proportion of the participation into around 30 to 40%. So each student will need to prepare before they come to class. So they will need to understand the case prior to the class. And the cases, of course, it won't be only one case. Like you need to read 5 to 6 cases and readings to support the cases. And so each prof for that part will have their own, his or her own style in determining the proportion of the participation. And I do agree with you. For some students who came from several certain nationalities, like for example, me, like Indonesians are very famous for being indirect, a little bit shy in speaking out their opinions. But then we're being pushed to. It's okay to have different opinions. It's okay to English is not your first language. I mean, it doesn't mean that when you speak English and it's not perfect that you don't have any point, right? So the more important part is the content and the quality instead of the quantity. So that's also the thing that the profs always mention: quality and content instead of quantity. There is some terms in the MBA class that some students will paraphrase the statement or try to build up on the idea, build up on the other students' opinions. So of course it is actually one of the easy ways to participate in the class, but some profs would definitely acknowledge that, and they wait a minute, you just rephrase or you just paraphrase his sentence. Could you try to come up with other idea or other statement that would actually support, or probably you have disagreement? That's okay. Could you please explain your disagreement? So that's how the prof actually would try to encourage the students to try to come up with new ideas or new opinions instead of paraphrasing and chasing for the quantity. Because that some students might have that tendency, but because we also have the chance to actually give peer feedback, right? And because of that, some students actually try to improve themselves. So some who didn't have any, courage to speak up more, they got feedback from the others like, hey, actually, when you try to speak about this idea, it was very nice. It was a very good quality feedback or a good quality, opinion. You should speak up more. And for the ones who, try to dominate the conversation, they would try to, the others would like to let them know that, hey, why don't you try to give the other chance to speak up, because they also have, great ideas that we can actually explore. So both, I think the prof and the students really contribute to the way we discuss in the class. Mm-hmm. So why Singapore? Firstly, is because my family is here. So we know that moving around, so I have a son, so moving around with the son would be a little bit tricky and not challenging, I would say. It's doable, but a little bit tricky, and you need some thoughts. You need to put some thoughts on it, right? And currently my husband is working here, and we see that Singapore is the place for us to live for the next years. And so I decided that, okay, then Singapore it is. I mean, then I would try to, as best as I can, to explore the job market here in Singapore. And why NUS MBA came into the picture, because you know that there are several other MBA programs here in Singapore, and all of them are great. They're all they all have good reputation, and they're all positioned in good rankings. But what also drives me into NUS MBA, aside of the experiential learning program, is also the diversity. So I remember that there are more than 30 nationalities in my cohort, from China, India, European countries, the US, Southeast Asian countries. So I am exposed to diverse backgrounds, diverse cultures, and even diverse working styles and communication styles. And I can feel it, during the classroom discussions. People will have different opinions. And for example, when I hear someone from the US try to express his opinion, he will be very direct. And us who came from, Southeast Asian region, even come from Japan, we will be like, oh my God, that's so direct. And we will be so surprised to hear about that. But it's actually a good exposure for us to, experience, because if we don't come out of our comfort zone, and if we just communicate with the people in the same region or who came from the same nationalities, same culture, we won't grow, right? So diversity, and I really want to explore this kind of uniqueness. So that's actually what drives me to NUS MBA. There are two ways for me, actually. So the first one is NUS MBA has its careers office. It's called BizCareers. So every month they will have series of workshops for the students to explore various industries. So they will have specific workshops for consulting industry, specific workshops for finance, including banking, but for now mostly PE and VC. So the workshops will specifically discuss about, advanced financial modeling for the ones who already have the basics, but they also have basic financial modeling workshop. And for the consulting sector, they will arrange, workshops for case cracking. And not only that, they also have platform for the students to actually try to look for the job opportunities. It's called Talent Connect. So it's actually a virtual platform in which a student can try to search for internship and full-time roles. And they also have virtual career fair. So in that career fair, we had the chance to have group chat with some big and big companies and startups, and then we also had the chance to have one-on-one conversation with the companies that we're interested in. And so it has been helpful. And each student is assigned with one career advisor from the career office. So we can always try to reach out to them if we want to have one-on-one conversation with this advisor to ask anything about the job that we want to explore, this sector, even to connect us with industry professionals related to the role that we want to explore post-MBA. And for that, in my experience, I was connected to some, founders and managing directors of PE firms in Singapore, so it has been very great. And so aside of BizCareers or the career office, I was also a part of the student council. So we arranged some events, and because I had the passion in finance, I joined Finance Club. And as the president of the student council, I had the privilege to connect with these professionals quite easily, because again, we believe that through these events, actually, we can help the other students or my batchmates to, learn more about the sector, right? And it will be very great for them to hear directly from the professionals or from the industry experts. And so far, they're all very helpful. They're very generous with their time. And even we also had some coffee chats. Like I also have some coffee chats with the PE experts, like the founders and managing directors of the PE firms, and they have been very friendly. So one time, one of them would wish me, birthday, and so it's I didn't expect that, and they're very humble. So it has been a very great, I think, experience, for me. NUS MBA provides the opportunity for the students to tailor their MBA journey through the specializations, and each student can take up to 2 specializations for each semester. And the way they did it is, so we are asked to choose 2 specializations in each semester, and those specializations will give us the chance to pick the modules. So let's say I want to specialize in entrepreneurship and digital business. So I will declare my specialization before the next semester starts. And after I got my specialization, then I can pick the modules under the entrepreneurship and digital business specializations, the ones that I have declared before. And for that, I can explore up to 2 modules per specialization. Let's say after I take the digital business specialization, I would like to take emerging tech module or fintech module. And under the other specialization, which is entrepreneurship, I will take venture capital module and innovation and entrepreneurship module. So each student has, the chance to pick whatever they want. And we have around, I think, 6 specializations. And I even changed my specializations for, some semesters. So for the first and the second, I took finance and strategy. But for the next semester, I actually decided to go for digital business and entrepreneurship, because I would like to explore other modules that are actually not my forte. So So in NUS MBA, actually each class will have around up to 50 people because of the pandemic. So NUS MBA always tries to push for in-person classes. So the way they design the module now, each module will only have up to 50 or maximum 51, 52 students. But if that particular module, is very interesting and lots of students actually would like to apply for it, then they will try to create 2 classes for that module. Let's say currently analytics for managers class is the popular one. So if previously they will only have 1 class for this particular module, they will extend it to 2 classes in different days. So we don't have any, that class with big setting more than 55 people because of the pandemic, and they don't want to change it into, virtual or online classes. So each class now we only have 50 maximum people. And the way we connect with each other is actually they have experiential learning called Launch Your Transformation. So it is a management communication module. It's leadership bootcamp. So each student is pushed to, speak up in front of diverse audience. We were trained to give our 30-second pitch, 2-minute speech, and in that particular class, we are mixed between full-timers and part-timers. So if during the usual classes, we would not be able to meet each other because of the difference of the timing, right? The part-timers will definitely go for evening classes. The full-timers will definitely go for day classes. In this particular leadership bootcamp, we were mixed with each other. So they have this unique criteria in mixing the classes, the sections. Each class will have a mix of part-timers and full-timers, 50-50, and each small group will definitely have different backgrounds. Like in one group, let's say if we have 5 to 7 people, each student will come from different sector or different industry. So that's the way they try to mix it up, and they try to push us to connect with each other. I would say be brave and be open-minded, because again, the purpose of having or going through an MBA is to come out of your comfort zone, and definitely you will find opposing views, you will find difficult conversations, and even during the MBA you will feel like your plan might go sideways. Like initially you will aim for this sector, but then when you discover this modules in the MBA, or when you have a conversation even with your batchmates, you will start to think, oh yeah, I think this sector would actually suit me, or oh yes, I think probably even being an entrepreneur is actually my call. So that's how rich an MBA experience would be, and being open-minded is definitely the most important thing, because it will definitely help you achieve your goal post MBA.